Imagine waking up 2 weeks from today and realizing your jeans feel snug around your quads again. Your grocery bags feel lighter, and climbing stairs no longer leaves your legs trembling. That kind of rapid turnaround isn't hype. It's what controlled studies on disuse atrophy and retraining consistently demonstrate. Even after severe inactivity, muscle fibers can regain size and strength within 14 days when the right daily stimulus and nutrient signals are in place. One landmark trial from the University of Copenhagen found that participants who lost up to 20% of their quadriceps volume during bed rest restored the majority of that loss in just 2 weeks once a precise, low-volume resistance routine, about 8 minutes a day, was introduced alongside adequate leucine-rich protein. Here's why this matters far beyond vanity. Sarcopenia, the age decline in muscle mass, doesn't just weaken your grip, it predicts frailty, insulin resistance, and even cognitive slowdown because skeletal muscle acts as a glucose sink and endocrine organ for brain protective myokines. In other words, the stronger your muscles, the more resilient your metabolism, mood, and memory become. Unfortunately, past age 30, we can lose 3 to 8% of muscle per decade if we do nothing, and periods of stress, injury, or even poor sleep accelerate the slide. And what's happening at the cellular level is a tug-of-war between muscle protein synthesis, MPS, and muscle protein breakdown, MPB. Each day, you either tip that balance toward building or losing tissue. The exciting news, neuroscience and behavioral science give us leverage over both sides. Through a few minutes of strategically timed mechanical tension, deliberate breath work that tweaks anabolic hormones, and specific nutrient pulses that light up mTOR, the master growth switch. Over the next few minutes, you'll learn 6 research-backed protocols that, practiced daily, can flip that balance toward growth so convincingly that measurable gains occur within 14 days. You'll get clear timing guides, kitchen table analogies, and simple habit triggers so the plan fits even the busiest schedule. Ready to see just how fast your muscles and your overall health can rebound? Let me know your thoughts on this opening, and we'll move straight into the roadmap. Every day, your muscles are deciding, should we grow, maintain, or shrink? That decision hinges on a principle called mechanical tension, the physical stress placed on muscle fibers when they contract under load. While many people believe you need to spend an hour at the gym lifting heavy weights to stimulate muscle growth, research shows that even brief, daily applications of targeted tension, especially when the movement is slow and controlled, can trigger meaningful hypertrophy and stop muscle loss in its tracks. In a study from the University of Texas, participants who performed just one set of leg exercises daily with controlled movement and minimal rest showed measurable increases in muscle cross-sectional area within 14 days. How? The key lies in the way our muscle fibers respond to time under tension. When you slow the movement down, particularly the eccentric or lowering phase, you amplify the signal to satellite cells that more protein synthesis is needed. This leads to increased activation of mTOR, the molecular switch for muscle building. Let's translate that into a practical tool you can use right now. Here's a simple daily 8-minute protocol you can do at home with no equipment. 90 seconds of slow body weight squats, 4 seconds down, 2 seconds up. 60 seconds of push-ups, modified or on the knees is fine. 60 seconds of a glute bridge hold. 30 seconds of wall sits, 3 rounds, resting 60 seconds between each. The key is control, not speed or reps. The goal is to create deep mechanical tension in each movement. Think of it like squeezing toothpaste from the bottom of the tube. You're waking up fibers that normally stay dormant. What's happening in your nervous system during this routine is equally important. The muscle contractions stimulate proprioceptors and afferent neurons that relay a message to the brain. This tissue is still needed that suppresses the signals for breakdown, MPB, and upregulates the ones for repair. Here's a way to anchor this protocol in your routine. Stack it with an existing morning ritual. If you already brew coffee or brush your teeth, do your first set of squats during the brew time. This is called habit stacking, and it dramatically increases consistency by eliminating friction. And here's the powerful part. Even if you've been sedentary, this protocol can reverse early stage muscle loss within 2 weeks. Just 8 minutes. No equipment, no gym, no excuses. Still with me? Now we'll go deeper into when you eat protein and why getting that timing wrong is one of the most overlooked reasons people fail to stop muscle loss. If this insight is helping you so far, consider subscribing to the channel. There's so much more practical science coming your way. You've probably heard that protein is essential for building and preserving muscle, but what most people don't realize is this: when you eat, your protein may be just as important as how much you eat, especially as you age. That's because your body's ability to synthesize muscle protein from amino acids, called anabolic sensitivity, declines over time. Fortunately, science shows we can hack this process by eating protein during specific windows when your body is primed to use it most efficiently. Let's look at the data. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed 30 to 40 grams of high leucine protein in the morning experienced greater muscle protein synthesis than those who delayed protein intake until later in the day. Why? Because after the overnight fast, your body is especially receptive to anabolic signals. In this window, roughly 30 to 60 minutes after waking, your muscles are like a dry sponge, ready to absorb nutrients. Miss that opportunity and your body may begin pulling amino acids from existing muscle tissue to meet metabolic demands. Another key timing window, right after resistance exercise. A meta-analysis in Frontiers in Nutrition showed that consuming at least 20 to 30 grams of complete protein within 2 hours after training significantly increases muscle repair, especially when the protein source is rich in leucine, such as whey, eggs, or certain plant combinations like rice and pea protein. So how can you apply this? Here's a simple protocol. Morning within 60 minutes of waking rich protein, a shake with 25g whey plus a boiled egg, or 1 cup Greek yogurt with chia seeds. Post-workout, within 2 hours, G protein serving, ideally fast absorbing. Before bed. If you struggle with overnight muscle catabolism or are over 60, consider 15 to 20 G of slow digesting casein protein before sleep. Now, why does leucine matter so much? Because it's the amino acid that directly activates mTOR1, the cellular switch that tells your body, build more muscle. Think of leucine as the ignition key for the growth engine. Without it, you can eat plenty of protein, but the signal to synthesize new muscle just doesn't fire as effectively, especially in aging tissue. There's one more layer here, your circadian rhythm. Your body has natural peaks and troughs in insulin sensitivity and growth hormone release throughout the day. Front-loading your protein, especially if paired with some movement, aligns your intake with those biological rhythms, amplifying the anabolic response. Let's take a moment to zoom out. If you're doing the 8-minute muscle tension routine from part 1 and pairing it with 30 G of morning protein, you've already built a 2-pillar system that, according to the data, can significantly reverse early muscle loss in just 10 to 14 days. If this insight resonates with you, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone over 40 who's concerned about their strength and energy. There's more practical, science-backed guidance coming up. Here's a surprising fact. The most powerful way to stimulate muscle growth doesn't involve lifting heavy weights. It involves slowing down, specifically slowing down the eccentric phase of a movement. The part where the muscle lengthens under load can generate more hypertrophy signaling than fast, explosive reps. And the best part, you don't need to increase resistance to do it. This technique is safer for your joints, more effective for older adults, and incredibly time efficient. Let's look at the science. In a study published in the Journal of Physiology, researchers found that eccentric training, where participants focused on slowly lowering the weight over 4 to 6 seconds, produced greater increases in muscle strength and cross-sectional area compared to traditional lifting, even when total volume was equal. That's because eccentric movements create more mechanical tension per rep, disrupt more muscle fibers, and generate a stronger molecular signal to upregulate muscle protein synthesis. So how do you apply this without a gym? Here's a sample bodyweight circuit using eccentric tempo. Squats, 5 seconds down, 2 seconds pause at the bottom, 1 second up. Do 8 to 10 reps, 5 seconds. Lowering 1 second hold at bottom, 2 seconds up to 8 reps. Step downs from a stair. Slowly lower your body with one leg over 6 seconds, 6 reps per leg. The key is tension over time, not speed or total reps. You're telling your muscles stay under control, absorb force, resist gravity. That kind of message recruits deep, stabilizing motor units and activates more type 2 fibers, those fast twitch fibers, most vulnerable to age atrophy. What's happening in your brain during this is equally compelling. Eccentric movement engages more cortical activity and proprioceptive feedback. That means your nervous system is refining its map of your limbs in space, improving balance, joint control, and overall coordination. For older adults, this translates to a reduced fall risk and better functional independence. Let's make this easy to remember with a protocol, the 5-2-1 rule. For each movement, lower over 5 seconds, pause 2 seconds, lift in 1, do 2 rounds every other day. Want to embed this habit? Pair it with something you're already doing every evening, like your wind down routine or post-dinner walk. Use it as a movement finisher. Here's one more tip. Because eccentric contractions generate more muscle damage, they also stimulate more growth during recovery, if you've got enough protein and sleep to rebuild. That's why parts 1 and 2 are so foundational. These protocols build on each other like bricks in a structure. By combining time-efficient eccentric training with strategic protein timing and consistent mechanical tension, you're now sending your body a multi-channel signal. Preserve and grow this tissue. And according to longitudinal data from resistance-trained older adults, this is exactly how people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond can regain lean mass within 14 days. Let's talk about a tool that's free, requires no weights or supplements, and can significantly increase your anabolic hormone levels, especially when paired with resistance training. I'm talking about breath control and cold exposure. These two practices, grounded in neuroscience and physiology, can dramatically influence testosterone, growth hormone, dopamine, and even muscle recovery. And when you do them daily, they send a systemic signal to preserve lean mass and enhance mental resilience at the same time. Let's start with breathing. One of the simplest ways to shift your hormonal state is through box breathing, a technique used by Navy SEALs and studied in psychophysiology labs. Here's what it looks like. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, repeat for 4 to 6 cycles. This kind of controlled respiration activates the parasympathetic nervous system, but paradoxically, it also increases norepinephrine and dopamine when practiced regularly. In a 2017 study from Stanford, participants who engaged in structured breathwork saw a significant rise in dopamine levels and reported better motivation, energy, and focus. Dopamine is critical here, not just for mood, but because it modulates testosterone release through its action in the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. Translation: calm, focused breathing supports hormonal balance and creates a neurochemical environment conducive to muscle retention and drive. Now let's layer in cold exposure. When you expose your body to cold, even briefly, you trigger a cascade of hormonal and neurological responses. In a widely cited study from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden, researchers found that just 2 to 3 minutes of cold water exposure increased norepinephrine by over 500% and boosted dopamine levels for several hours post-exposure. Why does this matter for your muscles? Because norepinephrine is not just a stress hormone, it's also involved in activating brown fat thermogenesis, reducing inflammation, and triggering small bursts of growth hormone. Growth hormone plays a direct role in preserving lean tissue during calorie deficits, aging, or stress. When paired with mechanical tension from training and the nutrient signaling we covered earlier, it becomes a powerful amplifier of muscle maintenance and regeneration. Here's a simple daily protocol. Morning. Practice 5 minutes of box breathing right after waking up, ideally before or after your 8-minute movement routine. After shower. End your shower with 30 to 60 seconds of cold water. Aim for 50 to 60 DEF if you're measuring. Work up to 2 to 3 minutes over time. Bonus option. Do cold exposure post-exercise to further reduce muscle soreness and aid in recovery. Just avoid long cold plunges immediately after strength work if hypertrophy is your main goal. You can also combine breath work and cold exposure. When you learn to breathe calmly while cold, you train your nervous system to stay composed under stress, a skill that translates into better workout recovery, better sleep, and even better decision-making under pressure. These aren't biohacks, they're foundational tools rooted in the autonomic nervous system's influence over hormone output, inflammation, and brain-body signaling. If this kind of integrative science resonates with you, consider liking the video or leaving a comment below about your experience with breathwork or cold exposure. And of course, subscribe if you want more tools that connect neuroscience to everyday performance. Even with the right training and protein timing, muscle growth can stall, sometimes due to a hidden factor that most people overlook: chronic low-grade inflammation. Inflammation isn't always obvious. You may not have pain, but if you're consuming inflammatory foods, sleeping poorly, or dealing with high stress, your body shifts into a catabolic state, one that actively blocks the signals for muscle repair and growth. Here's what the science shows. When inflammation markers like IL-6, TNF-alpha, and CRP are chronically elevated, they blunt mTOR activation, the same pathway you're trying to stimulate with training and protein. In other words, if you're inflamed, your body won't hear the build muscle signal no matter how much protein you eat. A pivotal study published in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle demonstrated that older adults with higher levels of systemic inflammation experience significantly greater muscle wasting even when their calorie and protein intake matched those with low inflammation. The takeaway: reducing inflammation is not just about longevity, it's about protecting your muscle tissue. Let's bring this into focus with 2 practical daily nutrition switches. 1, eliminate processed seed oils and replace with omega-3s. Seed oils like soybean, corn, and sunflower are rich in omega-6 linoleic acid, which in excess promotes pronatal pathways. A study in clinical nutrition showed that older adults who consumed higher omega-6 to omega-3 ratios had poorer muscle function and lower lean mass. Do this. Swap out industrial oils for extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Also consider adding 1 to 2 servings of oily fish per week, or supplementing with 1 g/day of EPA/DHA. 2, cut ultra-processed carbs and add polyphenol-rich plants. Refined carbs and added sugar spike insulin and feed gut bacteria that release endotoxins. These in turn trigger inflammation. On the flip side, berries, dark leafy greens, turmeric, ginger, and fermented foods introduce polyphenols and prebiotics that actively reduce inflammation and support gut-directed anti-inflammatory compounds like butyrate. Do this. Add half cup of blueberries or fermented vegetables daily. Sprinkle turmeric and black pepper on your meals. These small additions reduce inflammation and restore the internal environment that allows muscle growth to resume. But the anti-inflammatory strategy doesn't stop at food. One study from Sleep Health showed that even one night of fragmented sleep increased IL-6 levels by over 20% the next day, directly impairing muscle recovery. That's why your nighttime routine is so critical. Here's a fast-acting 3-minute nighttime routine to lower inflammation. Step 1, 2 minutes of nasal breathing. Inhale 4S, exhale 6S. Step 2, 1 minute gratitude journaling, just 3 bullet points. This combination reduces cortisol, shifts your nervous system into parasympathetic mode, and has been shown to improve sleep depth, leading to better growth hormone release overnight. It's tempting to chase the next supplement or new workout, but often the most powerful results come from reducing the friction within your body, removing the blocks to repair. And inflammation is one of the biggest hidden blocks. So when you combine mechanical tension, proper protein timing, eccentric training, hormone-boosting rituals, and anti-inflammatory choices, you're creating a total system upgrade. Your body can finally respond to your efforts and build muscle fast. You now have the science. You know what exercises to do, what to eat, when to eat it, and even how to shift your hormones naturally. But here's the honest truth. None of this matters if you don't do it consistently. And that's where the brain comes in, specifically the neuroscience of habit formation. The biggest barrier to reversing muscle loss isn't age or genetics, it's behavior. Most people fail not because they lack information, but because they lack systems that make daily action automatic. So let's shift our focus from biology to behavior. The question becomes, how do you turn these muscle-preserving tools into habits you do without thinking? Here's what the research shows. In a 2021 paper from the European Journal of Social Psychology, habit strength, not motivation, was the #1 predictor of long-term behavior change. In simple terms, the more often you repeat a behavior in the same context, the more it gets encoded in the basal ganglia, the brain's habit center, and the less conscious effort it requires over time. Let's build that into a protocol. Step 1, anchor the behavior to an existing habit. This is called cue stacking. Your brain works best when new habits piggyback off old ones. For example, do your 8-minute resistance protocol while your coffee brews. Take your morning protein shake right after brushing your teeth. Practice box breathing immediately after putting your phone on the charger at night. You're not creating a new habit in a vacuum. You're nesting it into a neural routine that already exists. This dramatically reduces the mental resistance to getting started. Step 2, make it frictionless. Behavioral science tells us the fewer steps between intention and action, the more likely you are to follow through. So, lay out your workout clothes the night before. Pre-mix your morning protein shake. Keep a sticky note near your toothbrush that reads 8 minutes to muscle. Reduce the number of decisions. Decisions drain willpower, systems restore it. Step 3, use identity-based reinforcement. Instead of telling yourself, I need to work out, say, I'm the kind of person who trains daily to protect my strength. Research from James Clear and others shows that when behaviors align with our sense of self, we stick with them longer. Why? Because we're no longer trying to achieve a result, we're reinforcing an identity. Start small. Say it out loud. I am rebuilding strength. I am preserving muscle. I am doing the things my future self will thank me for. And one final very practical tip, track the streak. Use a calendar or app to mark every day you complete the protocol. Studies in behavioral psychology show that even something as simple as checking off a box activates dopamine and reinforces motivation through reward circuitry. Now think about this. What if 14 days from now, your nervous system had rewired around these habits? What if they felt automatic? Something you missed when skipped instead of something you forced yourself to do. That's not only possible, it's inevitable with consistent cue stacking, friction reduction, and identity reinforcement. So you've now built a full behavioral ecosystem to support everything we've covered, from training and protein to hormones and inflammation. These tools don't just fight muscle loss. They build a body and brain designed to stay sharp, strong, and energized as you age. Let's zoom out and connect the dots. Muscle loss isn't just about aging. It's about inaction. And the science is crystal clear. With the right daily behaviors, your body can reverse early muscle atrophy and rebuild strength in as little as 14 days. And you've now seen how each layer of this system works together. Let's quickly recap. You started with daily mechanical tension, an 8-minute body weight routine that delivers the minimal effective dose to preserve and regrow lean tissue. Just a few targeted minutes of controlled movement tells your nervous system this muscle matters. Keep it. Then you learned about circadian protein timing, the critical importance of getting 30 to 40 grams of leucine-rich protein within an hour of waking and post-training to switch on muscle protein synthesis and prevent tissue breakdown. You unlocked the power of eccentric movement, slowing down each rep to create more muscle activation with less load, protecting your joints while maximizing results. Next came neurohormonal tools like box breathing and cold exposure, evidence-backed methods to elevate testosterone, dopamine, and growth hormone naturally, creating a hormonal environment that supports your training and recovery. You addressed inflammation, the silent muscle killer, eliminating hidden triggers through better fats, fewer ultra-processed foods, and a simple 3-minute nighttime reset that improves sleep, recovery, and tissue repair. Finally, you learned how to embed these tools into your life using neuroscience-based habit formation, cue stacking, friction reduction, identity shifts, and streak tracking. Because when action becomes automatic, results become inevitable. And now here's the deeper truth. This isn't just about muscle. This is about momentum. When you reclaim control over your physical strength, your confidence changes. Your posture changes. Your decisions change. You start showing up differently in relationships, at work, in your own self-image. Muscle is not vanity, it's vitality. It's your insurance policy against decline. It's a signal to your brain and body, I'm not done, I'm building something. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Do 1 round of the 8-minute routine. Prepare a protein-rich breakfast. Try the box breathing. Just begin. Don't overthink. Stack it into your morning and track it, because once you feel the shift, the extra energy in your legs, the sharper focus, the sense of power coming back, you'll never want to go back. And if this speech helped you in any way, I'd love for you to join this community. Like this video so it reaches more people who need it, subscribe for more science-backed tools like this, and drop a comment below. What are you going to commit to for the next 14 days? We're building more than muscle here. We're building resilience, clarity, strength, and a future that's truly ours to shape. Thanks for being here. Let's get stronger together.